Hey everybody, it's Saskia here, and I'm really excited to share with you guys my very first scrapbook process video. And I'm making a layout here for the Memory Nests Make It Monday. I'm basing it off of a sketch. So I'm working right here with a transparency with these cute little polka dot paper. I really liked this. I picked it up not too long ago and I knew I had to use it right away or just sit in a pile and collect so much dust. And I didn't really want that to happen. I knew I had to use it. And I cut it kind of wonky, but that's okay because it's going to get covered up a bit, and I knew it would be covered, so I was like, we'll just go with it. So what I did is I stitched it with my sewing machine to stitch it on because you can't really use glue. Glue would show, it would look funky. Stitching is totally the way to go with that. So now I'm going and I'm just putting some frames on. And I'm just picking out some ones, different ones of shapes I like. I love using frames. I use them all the time. I have a hard time not using a frame on a layout. So here I have this pink frame with these floral, flurry patterns on it, and it's totally not me. So I knew I was going to cover it up. Wasn't sure if I was going to paint on it or if I was going to use some paper. And in the end, I decided to use some paper just because it would be quicker. And I was trying to actually get a layout done relatively quickly. So I'm deciding what kind of paper to use, and I had a hard time deciding. I really liked the paper with little trees and the little penguins and snowman, but the problem with it was you wouldn't see enough of the cute little characters to make it show on the frame, so you'd get like half a penguin or half a tree, and you just couldn't get everything on there. And I was like, it's just not going to get the overall look I wanted. So in the end, I decided to go with this cute little snowflake paper, and I really do like that paper. And it totally fits the theme of my daughter's first time skiing. Makes so much more sense. So now I'm just putting some Mod Podge on it to just kind of get the paper to stick to it. And it goes pretty quickly. And that part went relatively quick. I wasn't really sure how well it was going to be covering it. Usually I opt to cover my frames with like some light paint, and then color it with gelatos or paint. Or so, I've even stamped before. I don't typically use paper to cover my frames because it tends not to cover the way I like it to cover and adhere quite as well. This one worked out surprisingly well. I was really happy with it. As you can see, I was trying to cut the inside with that tool, but it wasn't working for me, and I have no idea why. Normally it works really well. I think I might need a new blade because I've been using that blade for a really long time. So as you can see, I'm just trying to cut it and get as close as possible. Now, ideally I would have used like a little bit of sandpaper or a file or something. I didn't know where any of that stuff was on the top of my head. Those things tend to move around on me. So I'm just going to use my finger, and I'm just going to kind of go around the edges with my thumb. Don't really have much of nails on my thumb, so really just using my thumb, trying to get it. And it worked out fairly well. Just a couple little spots that didn't go exactly how I wanted it to be, but overall you totally don't notice it when it's on my layout. I kind of cover the little bit I don't like anyways. So here I am laying my photos back out. Now the original intent of the snowflake frame was to go around that middle picture of my husband and daughter on the ski slope, and for whatever reason I totally forget that that was my intention, and I think it was meant for one of those other two photos. And it's really going to throw me off because I'm not going to be able to figure out how it all lays out. So you can already see I'm like, well, I have these two frames, I don't like how that's mixing up. Then I start moving pictures around. I'm going to struggle with this for a really long time, and I'm going to keep coming back. You can see I'm trying to think, what am I going to do with this? You know, I keep playing different frames, but in the end, what I end up doing with that center photo is I end up matting it on a piece of paper and then sewing around it, kind of making my own little border. Because it's kind of a harder, that rectangle shape, you don't really see too many frames that fit that particular size that I printed them. They tend to be for a little bit bigger of a photo. So I really liked that kind of teal with the dots, but I had that other teal frame, and I knew I had to liven it up a little bit. See, I even go back to that cute little snowman paper thinking about it, but in the end, the stripe one wins. It has all the colors that my layout has, and I fiddle trying to figure out, do I want the stripes this way or do I want them that way? Eventually I'm just like, oh, just do it and just keep moving on, because I knew I wanted to get this layout done relatively fast, which means getting it done in one day. For me, I tend to do my layouts over several days, which makes it hard to record, which is why I really have never done a processing video before. Also the logistics of putting a video together, basically recording it, having it get up high enough. In the end, I actually put my recorder on the shelf on the wall of my desk, and then I had to kind of tilt my desk 90 degrees and work that way. So you actually see my layout, an old layout that I have hung on the wall, and there's just no way to get it out far enough without it tipping over and breaking, so that's just how it's going to be. That's okay, because it makes it a little bit more cozy, more intimate, I guess. So now actually, as you can see, I've stitched around the frames, and I'm just adhering them on. I had a really hard time. I didn't know why I couldn't get that to stick. It turned out it was getting towards the end and getting empty, and that's why it wasn't working for me, because I normally have such an easy time with those adhesives. They go so quick. But today it was not meant to be. So I'm just cutting it out, popping it on. I really liked that frame for that particular picture. It just fits so well. I think half the fun is picking out the frames that work better for the pictures. I have such a hard time not using them. I have so many stashed away. That's for sure. I'm just going to adhere with some washi tape. I have totally discovered that I never use washi tape on layouts that you can see. It's always hidden adhering things. Or I use it for other random things like wrapping presents and stuff. But it's not, I don't actually use it for scrapping, which is kind of a shame because it's all so pretty, but I just never can achieve the look I want with it. I have used it a couple times, but so rarely. And that frame was so sticky. There it goes. So I'm just gonna, I think I'm just trimming it here. Or no, I'm putting some more tape on it. Can't even remember what I was doing. While I was scrapbooking this, for the first half I was scrapbooking, my daughter was keeping me company and kept messing things around. And oh, so you can see she put that little character on my desk, and then she put that one there too, and I'm like, ooh, I gotta move them off, get them away. She was definitely trying to be, in her terms, helpful. I don't know. I was like, oh, I need to get this done. As you can see, I'm still moving those pictures around because I cannot get them the way I wanted them to be originally in my head. I still have yet to figure out that frame was supposed to go around that other picture. At some point in time, I think I realized it, and I'm like, oh, it's too late now. So I'm just going to have to do what I want it to do. And maybe if that center picture was a little longer, a little bigger, I would have been a bit happier. Yeah, I think I wanted it to be a little bit bigger to go with those frames, but I wasn't going to reprint a picture. I was just going to make it work the way I wanted it to. And I think I've got it now to about the position I'm going to have it in. Since I'm not 100% happy with my pictures kind of floating like this, I am going to cut this cute snowflake paper up and use it kind of as a big back mat. And I normally don't do this. I usually kind of like the floating look. Well, I was going to have it more neat and lined up, but it wasn't going to work that way. So I'm using this, and it's really probably the only time I'll get to use this pretty snowflake paper because it has been such a warm winter out here in Seattle. And like I said, this is my daughter's first skiing trip, and we did it when we were back east, back in New York, visiting all of our family at Christmas time. So I was hoping we'd be able to take her out again when we flew back home. Not going to happen. It has been so warm. We've had no snow. We've been like 50 degrees, which is fabulous. I love it, the 50-degree weather, but it means no snow in the mountains. All the ski resorts have all closed up because they can't get enough snow. It will probably be problematic later, come summertime, when we don't have the snowpack to melt. It'll be not so good, but for now, I will just enjoy the warm weather and let my family back east all deal with the mounds and mounds of snow and cold. And so you can see I put a little paper clip on there. I knew I wanted to use that. I actually really wanted to use it on a Project Life layout, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. And since this actually happened on January 1st of 2015, I thought it'd be good to use it now. And I'm actually picking out some flare. I really liked that bundle up flare. I liked the colors. They were the same from my daughter's winter coat. But and bundling up, you can use it for other things like bundling up in blankets and things, but the baby, it's cold outside, really can only be used with it being cold. And like I said, it hasn't been cold out here, so now I have to use it on this layout or I'll never get to use it. Maybe at the end of the year in December if it magically gets cold enough. But that's a long time for it to sit and wait, and a lot of stuff can happen by then. So now I'm just attaching some vellum. I love using vellum. It adds such a nice layer to everything. I think I use vellum on all my layouts. I never get tired of using it. Alright, so now I think I'm just about ready to adhere them. Yep, there I go. I'm adhering the layouts on. I'm just taping that one on. I'm going to use some dots on a couple of them to give them a little bit more texture, a little bit more layers, dimension. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh, and these snowflakes. I really liked these snowflakes. And I originally wanted to use 3 of the big snowflakes, but that little snowflake brad that I threw on the paper, it just wasn't, I had the 3 snowflake elements, so I decided just to go with it because I could not find a place for the 3rd paper chip snowflake that I liked so much. So I also tried to color some of the snowflakes. I have these really cool glittery pens, and they colored really nicely, but the gray that I tried was too dark for my layout. And the pink was a very different shade of pink, and I ended up using a lot of pink accents that kind of brings out the pink of my daughter's snow jacket. So I kind of gave up on coloring them and said, I'll just let them be kind of natural. And usually I use wooden, what do you call that? Wood veneers. I tend to use wood veneers on my layout, and I didn't do that on this one. So the chipboard's kind of more of my natural element. I always like to use something natural on it. Oh, here I'm trying to get that brad in, and I fiddled and fiddled and fiddled with it, and I could not get that brad to go. Oh, it's driving me crazy up the wall. But eventually I did get that brad to fit in. Just took way more effort than what was worth. And I don't even know where that brad came from. It was sitting on my desk for a really long time, and eventually I'm just like, gonna use it. It's sitting there, and it's weird, it's fuzzy, and it actually is I thought it was a normal, like, tealy green, but then now I realize it's actually a very different shade of green, and it doesn't really go with anything else in my layout. But it's there, so I'm just going to live with it, and there's enough going on with my layout. You don't really notice it too much. You say, oh, it's a snowflake, so it's meant to be. Alright, so now I'm just kind of fiddling around. Oh, that clear transparency thing. I have so many of those, and when I bought them, I thought, oh, these are so cool. I'm going to use them all the time. I have yet to use a single one of those. I keep trying to use them, and I never like how they look. So they still sit there. Luckily, I haven't gone about buying more of those, but haven't tried. So now I'm putting on my title, Snow Bunny, and that B is actually an upside down G that I'm using, but I wanted more of a loopy look, so I used the G, because that way it would kind of have a little bit more character, since the N in snow has kind of the curve to it. I needed something in bunny to have that same curve too without being another N, because I thought that'd be kind of boring. And I really wish the Y's had that, but the Y's are all boring. So now I'm just using a old Project Life card that I had sitting on my desk. I had used a rub-on, and it was a rub-on from like the dollar bin or something, and it did not want to go on, and I knew that was going to happen. Originally I thought, oh, it'd be so cool to put that in the white space on my center photo, but I know how horrible those those rub-ons are, so I was going to just put on a scrap paper, so if it wouldn't come out right, then I wasn't going to have destroyed my photo. So now I'm just trying to put some other little random bits that I have in my stash, and just trying to use up some stuff. I have a lot of stuff, and it needs to be used up more. So this sticker, I thought I wasn't going to be able to use this cute little snowflake sticker. But eventually I find a little place for it, and I'm like, bam, there it's going to go. And this tag, I had pulled this tag out. I think I was going to maybe use one of my photos and put it on there instead of a frame, but I think I kind of forgot about it. So now I'm just going to try to incorporate it in. And I was debating, oh, do I put it in? Do I not put it in? You know, is it going to be too much? But in the end, I decided, since I have that pink Project Life card and I have the pink text, that one more pink thing would be really good on my page. And yes, the flare has pink text on it, but that's very subtle. And I wanted kind of one more big bold thing. And polka dots, you can never go wrong with polka dots. I use a lot of polka dots on my page. That's actually why I use this purple paper. It's a doodlebug paper with just the purple with the little white dots, because it looks kind of like snow falling without screaming, hey, I am a winter paper. It's a little bit more subtle, and I always like using more subtle, I wouldn't say it's actually a subtle paper. A paper that's not super themey for my main background. That's kind of why I didn't do the big snowflakes, because they scream, I'm winter! Well, the purple is a little bit more fun. I don't know, maybe it's a little more like a blizzard. I don't know. I'm going on a really long tangent now. So I'm just kind of finishing up attaching my snowflakes and putting on the flare. I wanted to use a whole bunch of enamel dots because they're kind of circles, reminding me of snowballs. But I couldn't really find good places to put them. I did put one there by the snowflake, and I did end up putting a few little pink ones on because I felt like I needed a little bit more pink pizzazz. That pretty much was the extent of it. Just fastening on some more embellishments now. Getting them stuck on. I'm still thinking, do I put some enamel dots under that paper clip, or what am I going to do there? I ended up just putting a couple pink ones on that teal to pop out a bit. And I'm still going to keep thinking, what am I going to do with that 2015 under that spot? Because it just screams something has to go here. And what I'm actually going to end up doing is I'm going to write on there. Oh, see, there I go. I'm already writing, and I'm going to write first time skiing. And I don't have a problem with the writing on there. I just wished I had moved my first over a bit more. I didn't like exactly how it lined up, but it's on there, and that's how it's going to be. And it's good enough. See, there's one of the snowflakes that I tried coloring with my glitter pens, but still trying to sneak one more on, but decided not to do it. So now finally I'm going to add my journaling, and it's going to say, clearly you are a natural skier like your daddy. You had no problem going downhill, and you loved to do it fast. You even went down a bit by yourself. Now, I don't mind my journaling. I don't mind my handwriting. I'm very used to it now. I know a lot of people have a problem, but my biggest issue is I tend to not be able to think of what to write on there. I'm a concise writer, so for me, 3 sentences is a phenomenal job. So that's pretty much it for my layout, so I hope you enjoyed my first video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye!